everybody. Thanks for joining us as we take a look at your Christmas weekend forecast. And Merry Christmas to you out there. Looks like we are going to get a white Christmas after we got a couple of inches of snow in most places across southern Vermont yesterday, enough to at least kind of freshen things up out there after we lost most of our snow last Friday. So yeah, there you go. Basically, it's going to be a relatively quiet weather weekend. We have one storm that is going to go south of us. And west of us, that's gonna bring some heavy snow, not that far away from us. I'll show you some details on that. But it looks like we're at the most going to see some flurries out of that. We're going to be kind of cold, certainly, especially on Friday into Saturday morning, and then a chance for a maybe wintry mix, sleet, ice kind of storm Sunday night. Yeah, so that's kind of what's going on. Skiing should be good this weekend if you're up to ski. After this weekend with Christmas and everything, it should be good. What's going on across the country? So main feature that you're going to notice is obviously this giant storm, very powerful storm, bringing massive amounts of rain across California and really kind of pulling, as you can see, basically south to north, Pacific, relatively mild Pacific air and moisture all the way up to the west of the Rockies. Kind of flooding the western parts of the country with moderate air, certainly. And basically, we're going to look at this in a little bit, but we have some very cold air locked in Canada. And then this kind of boundary layer, which we've kind of been flirting with for the last couple of weeks. We're kind of going to do that this weekend, where particularly on Friday and into Saturday, we're going to be on the north side of that boundary. And then that boundary is going to move more north of us on Sunday into Monday, and we're going to warm up a little bit. Not dramatically. We're not going to get into the real warmth, which is sitting down here across the southeast as well, but we are going to get a little bit warmer. That's kind of the general trend. Let's take a look at radar. You can see basically, here's that huge storm. You can see the incredible amounts of rain in parts of California, lots of flash flood warnings and things like this. This is definitely some tough stuff in Southern California. And then not a lot going on, but you have these little like pieces of systems that break off. Here's a system that is mostly going to redevelop and then kind of sneak to our south. Like I said, we're going to get a little bit of basically a northerly flow, which is going to push this storm to our south, but it's going to bring a decent amount of snow to places in Pennsylvania, western New York, maybe even some parts of New Jersey as we head through basically Friday. That's going to happen. So could be a few flurries on the north end of that, but basically for us, we are escaping all of that. Let's take a look at the overall upper level picture, and you can see we have this kind of at the upper levels, this huge big trough, which is kind of that big storm, which is causing that big storm across California, and then this ridge, which is kind of a response to it, and then this area of Arctic kind of a trough across basically the North Pole right now, and that has led to some very cold temperatures. We'll look at temperatures here in a second, but here where we've got this ridge, which is at the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. You're moving air kind of north from south to north. We have a decent amount of warmth here across the central part of the country. But you can see in New England that we just are kind of on the very edge of that. And even with the storm that we just had, we've kind of dipped south a little bit, which right now we're kind of in the battle zone. That's why we got the snow yesterday. And then that's going to transition to us actually being in the cold side of it. Not so much tomorrow. Tomorrow for Christmas Day, we're kind of, if anything, a degree or two above average, pretty similar high temperatures to today, but certainly by Monday, or by Friday into Saturday. So let's take a look at those. This is the temperatures. This is the temperature anomalies at in the lower levels of the atmosphere, not right at the surface, but this tends to show kind of an averaged out situation with temperatures. And you can see where the warmer color temperatures are. This is temperatures above average, and we're talking 15 to 20 degrees above average for lots of the central part of the United States, even the Canadians, Rockies. The United States Rockies, Colorado, Wyoming, places like that, way above average. And then, but just to the north of that, we have temperatures quite a bit below average. And you can see we're kind of in the battle zone here, where we are certainly if you look, we're a little bit above average in some regards here, but actually the cold is just to our north with some of that Arctic cold. So let's take a look at the model run. This is going to show us, let me just pop myself in front so you can actually see what's going on. This is the model for the next storm. This is 7 a.m. Friday to 7 a.m. Saturday. You can see the storm comes. It's a quick mover, but it's got some precipitation with it, but basically all of it stays, and all of the models are pretty consistent about this. If you're forecasting in northeastern Pennsylvania, central New York, this is a big deal in terms of getting the exact track right. It's going to be far enough away from us. Everybody basically predicts this, where we are really going to see at most some flurries. That would be like Friday overnight into Saturday. We could see a few flurries, but basically no precipitation out of this storm. And I think this is the American GFS model. It does a good job of basically showing you what's going to happen with that next system. So we basically see nothing too significant out of this storm. For us, again, if you're traveling, because we know a lot of people obviously who are, from down in this part of the world that come up here to ski. If you're trying to get up here, if you did Christmas down in New Jersey and you're trying to get up here on Friday, you may want to try to leave maybe Christmas afternoon if you can, or just know it's going to be tough travel, basically anywhere south, not quite to Albany, but south and west of Albany. Certainly as you hit down close to New York City, certainly northern New Jersey is going to be tough. So yeah, that's just kind of, but for here in southern Vermont, we're basically dry and cold that day. So let's take a look at that actual forecast. Christmas Day tomorrow, 33, but you can see we fall all the way down to near zero, a few degrees below zero maybe on Christmas night into Friday morning. So cold. Then Friday morning, Friday during the day, it's a cold one on Friday. Temperatures about mid-teens on Friday. We have a few of those flurries from that storm to our south that will have a decent amount of cloudiness on Friday. I do think we could see a peak or two of some, but we're going to be on the north side of that storm. So some clouds on Friday. Overnight, the clouds hold our temperatures up a little bit, which is why we're not quite as cold on Friday night as we were on Thursday night, and as we will be on Saturday night. But Saturday, we start to rebound right away as the front, or as that boundary layer starts to move north a little bit again. We're up in the mid-20s. That's pretty average for this time of year. Overnight lows of about 9. Saturday's a good ski day, though. Basically, really, Friday's cold, but not as great. Saturday's a really nice ski day. Wind should die down on Saturday, too. Could be a little breezy on Friday. Not bad, but a little breezy. So Saturday's a great ski day. Sunday's a really good ski day as well, and even a little bit warmer before we start to get that threat late, basically into the evening and overnight of a wintry mix. And that's probably going to be, right now it's looking mostly like sleet and freezing rain, which it could be kind of a mess travel-wise on Monday morning because that could linger into Monday morning. We're going to have to iron the details out on that. It's a little too early to be certain, but basically it doesn't look great, especially if you're trying to travel on Sunday or Monday morning. Sunday should be fine unless you're driving like overnight Sunday. So yeah, basically that's what's going on. Let's take a look at those weekend details. Mostly quiet weather with a couple of cold days Friday and Saturday. Christmas Day will be pleasant with quiet weather, slightly above normal temperatures. The next storm brings a wintry mix of sleet and freezing rain Sunday night into Monday. Conditions will be quite slippery on Monday morning. Generally good skiing for the weekend. So try to get out there and enjoy it because I don't think it'll really, Monday is going to be tough in terms of just like the sleet and freezing rain. Although when they get a chance to get out there and groom it, we're not going to get real warm or anything like that after the storm. Matter of fact, we'll cool back down. So it's not a huge long-term problem for the skiing, but certainly Monday is not going to be great. So by the middle of next week, we should be back to pretty good conditions for this time of year. All right. Thanks for supporting the channel. I am going to give a quick shout out to my patrons. Normally this forecast just goes out to my patrons on Wednesday, but because of the long weekend and the Christmas week and everything like that, I'm going to send this out to everybody. So I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons to help support what I do here at the West River Weather Guy. I will be back sometime to talk about the storm on Sunday. Not sure exactly with everything going on this week, Christmas-wise, a little tricky to know exactly when I'll be back, but I will be back at some point to talk about the storm on Sunday, and then sometime early next week to talk about New Year's weekend and all that goes on with that. All right, thanks for supporting the channel, and we will see you real soon.